So with that, Kristjan, if you'd like to come up and...
Hi guys. So you take my phone out because the last few days I have spoken to quite a lot of agents of differing sizes, my size and slightly larger as well, just to make sure that it's not just me blabbing what I think about things. It's a shared opinion within a lot of our sector. And I think, interestingly, some of it's technical. Quite a lot of the feedback I got talking to other agents, and that echoed with us, is about the relationship between agents and you guys, from prospecting all the way to engaging with you. One thing I wanted to touch on, and we talked about this very briefly with Chris this morning, we did a little camera piece with Perry and Ian, is that I believe quite firmly that how our industry is evolving as agents is the products and services that an agent chooses to engage with from a technology basis in terms of delivering their service will very much form the identity of an agent going forwards. Fundamentally, we all do the same job. We all sell, let, manage properties. But the client experience and the consumer experience that they have along that journey is unique to every agency. And facilitating a marketplace where agents can pick and choose the products they want in the combination that they want to deliver the service that they want at the price point they want is really key to the evolution of our industry. Empowering agents to make that process as simple as possible is really what I see as the biggest challenge and the biggest opportunity, both for the industry but particularly as industry suppliers as well. So talking to a lot of the guys, I'm just going to go through some of the points I've put down here, and hopefully it will give everyone here something at least to take away with and think about, maybe to talk with agents that you already collaborate with. So I really focused on the frustrations. I don't think we really need to necessarily focus on the good things that are happening at the moment. I think there's plenty of good stuff happening, but we're really here to see, I think, how we solve a lot of those friction points that we're running into. So I'm going to talk sort of, first of all, from a sort of approach culture basis to begin with, and then I'll focus on a few little technical elements towards the end. One resounding piece of feedback I had from pretty much every agent I spoke to was one of their frustrations when being pitched a product, whether it be a startup, pre-launch, or a mature business, was quite often a surprising lack of understanding about the internal processes that an agent must go through, whether that's being compliant or whether it's just simply procedural. I think a lot of agents commented that they'd seen products that, from the promotional piece, from a snapshot video online, looked quite exciting. But when it got down to the meat and bones of it, they ended up actually being quite frustrated by a product because there were key elements that they needed to have in that process that weren't being resolved. And that was a key issue for them, because whilst the product they were looking at looked really nice and smooth, if it misses a key element, that is really critical. Another thing as well, and I think a lot of you probably will have come into this, is that one of the things I think that forms an agent's identity at the moment, and I think this is particularly true in lettings, is the processes that an agent has in place. And I think there have been several suppliers who, much to their surprise, have quite sensibly looked at a process and very intellectually gone, what is the best way we can approach this process? What is the most streamlined, most consumer-friendly process? And they hone what may well be the best approach to take. But when it comes to converting that product to an agent, trying to convince that agent to not only try what is potentially a new product, but to also then convince that agent to radically transform their internal processes of how they work. I think what suppliers need to understand is that reluctance to change that. It isn't just a sort of stuck in the mud. I mean, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. You know, we've worked like this for 15 years, why should we change it now? But some of that process is about that agent's identity. And that is quite often more the reason why an agent is unwilling to transform a process in adopting a product. So do try and think about that when you're developing products. Do try and give your agents as much as you can an area of flexibility within the processes that you're solving, to try and enable agents to work where possible in the way they like to, or the way their brand has developed a process, working alongside your platform. A lot of agents have said they've been pitched products which claim to solve a problem that they weren't actually aware existed. Do talk to agents. There is a growing body of us who are very, very happy and keen to join you guys on this journey, whether it is from your conception of an idea or whether it is developing tweaks to your products and services. A lot of us want to collaborate with you. We want you guys to deliver the products that we want, that is going to make our job easier, that is going to make our client happier or our consumer journey better. We're not all going to give you, we're not all going to give you the right advice, but hopefully if you gather enough of that, you'll be able to build products or variations of your products that will meet a greater demand. So do find ways to talk to us more, do find ways to engage with us more, and help you on that journey to what you're delivering. Something else that came up is revenue clashes. And when I say that, there's quite a lot of offerings that have come out recently that are either low price margin or even pertaining to be free, because they're leveraging fees elsewhere. Very commonplace is obviously utility switching, and more recently zero deposit schemes. Just be careful, only one of you's going to win that battle, and I think more and more agents now, they're looking at good products, but they know that multiple products will be competing over a single revenue stream, and that's not good overall for them, but also to have people fighting over their consumers isn't a great consumer experience of something. One of the things about today is it's great for independent agents to have a stronger voice in this. I know as suppliers, the larger organisations are obviously, from a commercial perspective, great opportunities in terms of the scale of revenue you can build through fairly streamlined contact people. But as daunting as the independent market might seem, again, particularly in lettings, I think it's still around 80% made up of independent agents. If you are genuinely solving a problem, you can win large chunks of clients across in volume. So I think some agents do feel that products are geared too strongly towards corporate clients that they work with without consideration for how an independent agent works. And the complexities and the challenges that an independent agent faces are very different to those of a 500 branch corporate. So again, consider those in your processes. I'm going on, so I'm trying to cut some of these points out because I'm definitely running over my 5 minutes. From a procedural thing, the last thing I will say on the procedural side of things is, again, working with independents, and I think this is obviously something actually Gary alluded to in his talk as well. When it comes to agents adopting products, particularly smaller independents and those coming into the PropTech space, the more help you can give that agent, not just in the simple basics of how they use your tools, but actually how they embed your product into their business. Something we've been asked quite a lot in our business by Zoopla is we have a massive percentage uptake with our property file product that they use within our letting business. And one of the things that they've asked us is how we've driven that user engagement. I think we have over 90% of our landlords and tenants interact with us almost exclusively through Property File. And the simple answer to that is that we have changed all of our company processes to embed that product as a central piece of what our offering is. I've spoken to a lot of agents who see a product, sign up to it, and it pretty much gets forgotten once it's signed up, or they trust one or two negotiators or key staff members to sort of embed with it. But as a company, there's no understanding about really what that product is, how it can transform how the business works. I've written in the past about really our view with PropTech is that we see it as a member of staff that we're taking on, and that everyone in the company should understand what that member of staff's role is within the business. And just like a member of staff, you reinvest back into it. You keep coming back to that product to see how you can embed it better into your business, how you can use the features of that product that you're maybe not using well. Coming across to the more technical side, the key frustrations really I see are three at the moment. Data duplication, having to enter the same data sets into multiple platforms is increasingly frustrating. And really what goes alongside that is what's sort of being called now interface fatigue. How many dashboards can an agent work on at one time? How many products can a management team oversee that their various teams are using correctly? Just try and think about that journey. And off the back of that, obviously, comes the integration of products. I think that really is the gold standard for agents. The simpler a system can be, the more streamlined they can operate. You know, if we can pull more and more products, if we can have 4 or 5 products working off a single dashboard, great. If we can have all of our products working through a single dashboard, obviously the gold standard. But the idea of developing a conversation about collaboration in the room, about at least starting the very complex journey of maybe agreeing on an industry standard API. It's going to be a long journey to get there, but I think ultimately for agents and suppliers alike, if we can get to that end point where most of us can be adopting something like that, I think will benefit both sides of the table. And yeah, I've rambled on way too long, so that's me done.